All right, we're moving in here. We're going to go to Hattiesburg, Ole Miss, and USM. I believe we have a special guest that's going to be joining us right now, possibly Alex. We got Brad Logan joining us here, Ole Miss guy at 247 Sports. Thanks for joining us, Brad. How's it going this morning?
Really good, and thanks for having me on. And real quick, let me say this. Now, look, I know we all love college baseball. The discussion this morning is fantastic. But what I really love is good college baseball. And how great has this college baseball postseason been? Specifically, last week, we didn't think college baseball could get any better. And here comes the Stillwater Regional. And it was just great television just for your novice fan. But for folks that follow it like we do every day, how fun was that? And this postseason has been great. And I've just really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, we had the most elimination games ever on a Monday. It was the most exciting weekend of baseball that we've seen in a very long time for college baseball. It feels like the game has leveled out quite a bit with the talent across the country. So I think that's what's brought us better baseball in these regionals. What do you like here seeing in the Ole Miss USM series here?
Well, obviously, you've got two in-state teams that they really don't like each other. Now, head coach Scott Berry for Southern Miss and Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco, a ton of respect between these two teams. The press conferences yesterday, and you could not have two better men leading programs. But I think for the fans, that's a little bit different story. You've got Southern Miss is playing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. The team like at Ole Miss is the bigger fan base. But the game is in Hattiesburg, and this is a place that Ole Miss, although it won earlier this season, in fact, it beat the number 11 ranked Southern Miss team that I think was one of the reasons that got Ole Miss into the tournament to begin with. They've not faced a Southern Miss team in this type of environment before. We had Coach Mike Bianco in the show last week, and he talked about how excited he was going to Miami. Well, the Rebels played well down in Miami. We had him on again, and I said, Coach, what do you think about playing down in Hattiesburg? He said, we've played down there before, but we've never played a weekend series. And that was an interesting point. You look at Ole Miss playing Southern Miss, it's always been a midweek game, either on each campus or down in Pearl. This time it's a 3-game or 2-game set, depending on how it works out. But it's going to be where you see different pitchers. And then you start asking yourselves, does Southern Miss have the depth in that middle relief to hang with a team like Ole Miss that's been hitting the ball really well? The good news for Southern Miss is they're going to throw two pitchers that are two of the best I think in the country, quite frankly, and that's going to prove pivotal for them to be able to get to that game 3. I do think this thing goes to game 3. I'm not sure who comes out on top, but I think this is going to be a series to remember in the state of Mississippi for sure.
I agree. I think, today, speaking specifically of today, Tanner Hall, do you think that he has enough to stay in the game long enough against this potent Ole Miss offense?
I do. I think Hall is a terrific coach. Coach Tristan Ostrander is a great pitching coach. Coach for years under Mike Kennison at Delta State, won the national championship back in 2004. So Ostrander is a coach that's been around the state of Mississippi, has recruited really well. And honestly, gentlemen, probably the best pitching staff Southern Miss, specifically the starters, that they've ever had. So if you get Hall, can go the distance, you feel really good if you win game 1 because you come back with Waldrop, who's had a terrific campaign this year for Southern Miss. If you look at it from an Ole Miss standpoint, they hit pitchers that throw in the mid-90s that really live and die by the fastball really well. They're a fastball hitting team. It's the crafty left-handers that have the quote-unquote junk that Ole Miss has really struggled with this year. Down in Coral Gables, Ole Miss hit the ball really well. The thing about it is Arizona and Miami both threw powerful fastball pitchers, and that's what Ole Miss really thrives on here late in the season. This has been an Ole Miss team that's been really up and down. It was a team that it really had a defensive tackle against Southeast Missouri State in a home run to keep from Southeast Missouri State run ruling this team midway through the year. This team was dead in the water. There was a coaching surge. Mike Bianco was on the way out, and this team completely turned it around, sweeping LSU, sweeping Missouri, getting a big non-conference win over Mississippi State on the road, and, of course, that big non-conference game against Southern Miss that I think catapulted Ole Miss over NC State to get into the NCAA regional play. Honestly, gentlemen, this is a team that I didn't think deserved a chance, but they got a chance, and they've taken advantage of it.
Yeah, they definitely have, and I think a lot of people had them on the fence. I know Noah, our at CWS 247, he had Ole Miss in. He picked them to be in. He picked them to go to a super. I don't think a lot of people around the country had that necessarily.
Nobody had that.
I know I went on the record 7 weeks ago and said USM is the best team in Mississippi. People were giving me all sorts of crap about that back then. Now it comes down to it. Now it's, put your money where your mouth is right here. This is the weekend series. I personally believe that this is the most exciting weekend series that we're going to watch. I think just with the in-state rivalry and everything going on between these two teams, it's the most fun. Who you got winning game one, though, tonight, Brad?
I think Ole Miss wins game one simply because Dylan DeLucia has been so good. There have been a number of series this year that Ole Miss won only one game and lost the series. For example, Arkansas, Mississippi State played well enough to win the series, but didn't, and they won that opening game with DeLucia. So I think Ole Miss gets game one. I think Southern gets game two with with Waldrop on the mound. He's been terrific this year. Hunter Elliott was a Taft Collegiate Baseball freshman All-America this year. He's really good. Obviously Ole Miss could win game two, but I think probably Southern Miss has the edge with the Waldrop going on the mound. And then I think game three is going to be interesting because we've seen Derek Diamond get the ball. I don't think he's going to get it. I think it's all about if middle relief pitcher Josh Mallett, how many innings he pitched. He could be the starter on that third game, if possible, on Monday. You also have Jack Washburn. You also have Jack Doherty that can throw. Brandon Johnson's got to get a little more consistent as the closer role. But I think game three is going to be a game to remember. I think it goes 3 games. And honestly, gentlemen, if you pin me down, I may give Ole Miss a slight edge because of the pitching staff. But if you tell me that Southern Miss wins game three, I would not be surprised. And I think without question, they would be the best team in the state of Mississippi. Scott Berry's been terrific. This is a game and a series that the SID department at Southern Miss normally fields about 5 to a series. They tell me it's been over 85 credential requests that they received. They've got folks sitting in the right field roost. They've got media underneath. They've got media in the weight room. It's an insane environment. And last I checked, tickets are going anywhere in general admission that charge $60 a piece. They're going anywhere from $400 to $1,500 a book of tickets. It's insane in Hattiesburg, and I can't wait to be there tonight to check it out.
Yeah, we saw that every single super regional sold out in like the first 10 minutes everywhere across the country, which was just crazy. It means college baseball is really back with these fans. They really were dying for it, wanting these games. And we have some great super matchups. Noah, did you have any questions, or AJ or Jake? You guys have any questions for him today?
Well, Brad, you have to be just absolutely, picking your job off the floor with my analysis of Ole Miss this season, having them in the super regional. And I was just so ecstatic when they played that Miami team because I've been calling Miami a fraud. I don't really know how I'm going to tie this into a question, but if you could just talk about my brilliance.
Well, obviously, followers are there for Ole Miss content. So I got hooked up with you, I think, or at least the Twitter account midway through the season. And when that came across, I thought, yeah, this needs to get to the masses because I think people are going to pounce on this. And I love rhetoric back and forth. And I've got a large following from Mississippi State as well. So they jumped on and they got a big kick out of it. And then here comes Southern Miss. So I'm a big Twitter engagement person. Let's just say that had a lot of engagement. And at the end of the day, Ole Miss is 2 wins away from you looking like one of the smartest people in the world of college baseball. And there are going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans that are going to be patting you on the back, to say the least.
Well, I've got him in Omaha, so let's keep it rolling.
So, Brad,
it's an opportunity. And this Ole Miss team and head coach Mike Bianco, like I said, they were dead in the water twice. Once against Southeast Missouri State, and then the other was when Ole Miss had, they came in with 14 conference wins. That's unheard of to make the tournament. So we thought, as we went over to Hoover, they had to get to at least 15 conference wins, which means they needed to beat Vanderbilt in the opening game. They didn't do that, and I don't think anybody had them in. I mean, you had them in, and I want to say maybe one more outlet had Ole Miss in, but nobody did. And at the end of the day, the Rebels end up getting in the tournament, and it's unbelievable. I can't believe they got in, but credit Mike Bianco. He even said, we're so excited to actually have the opportunity. Now, if you tell me that there was some politicking going on behind the scenes. That Mike Bianco is the head coach of USA Baseball. That the name across the chest. I'm not saying that helped them get in, but I'm sure not saying it didn't help them either.
Yeah, we definitely here over. We had DBU out and had NC State in, and we had Ole Miss in as well because we just did not think that Dallas Baptist deserved to be in, and they had a poor showing, so we looked pretty smart there as well. AJ, you had a question for Brad?
Yeah, Brad, does it change? I saw Southern Miss just released that Waldrop's starting today for him and Hall's throwing tomorrow. Does that change your outlook?
Well,
I think it gives Ole Miss a better chance today because DeLucia on the road has been incredible.
I do too, and that surprises me. And honestly, I could play like I knew the answer. I knew that, but I did not. That's completely new to me. So let's look at this real quick. I really anticipated Hall to go because I think Waldrop's had the better campaign this year. I'm very interested that Barry's going with Waldrop because I think that's their number one ace. And I think obviously DeLucia's their number one ace. So now I feel even stronger that if Ole Miss can get past game one, I think Ole Miss has a much bigger edge in game two. I still think I'll stick with Ole Miss in three, or give Ole Miss an edge in three. But I'm definitely intrigued by that decision. What, in your opinion, what do you think went into this? I'm genuinely curious about this. Now I'm gonna have to dig around and make some calls because I didn't see this coming.
I think it had something to do with Hall, his throwing schedule, because he pitched
Right.
in the game 7 in the regional against LSU. So I think it was probably he threw more than he has, and he threw kind of later, so they bumped him back a day. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, could be the case, but yeah, I'm all about thinking that probably benefits Ole Miss. But look, we talked about it earlier. Hall and Waldrop, they're fantastic, and they've got a great bullpen this year. They play well at home. But here's the funny part about all this is gentlemen, you know this, but maybe not the average fan. Ole Miss didn't win a conference game for about 2 months at home. I mean, they were 0 for whatever, and they won 2 or 3 on the road. They just have not played well at home this year. And I'll be honest, they played awful at home in super regionals. And you'll know this, the only time Ole Miss and Mike Bianco have went to Omaha was in 2014. By the way, that was when they won the Louisiana Regional in Lafayette. It was an all-turf field just like this one. It was a hostile environment, very similar to what Ole Miss is going to face with Southern Miss this weekend. So, I think it actually benefits. I know it sounds crazy, but it's going to be an insane environment. I think it actually benefits Ole Miss because I think they'll thrive off of it.
Yeah, I think that crowd's going to be a lot more split than people believe. I think that the USM faithful believe that they're going to fill up those stands, but I think Ole Miss fans are going to sneak their way in somehow. I think that they're bought more tickets than people are aware of, and I think that's going to be a 50-50 split down there. I'm excited for the atmosphere down there, though. Hattiesburg has been outstanding. They were great in the regional. Looking forward to seeing this here with Ole Miss down there. Jake, you got any questions for Brad today?
Brad, I did have one. Where do you kind of put the Bianco hot seat since it's kind of, before this run that they went on, it almost felt like it was a given that he was going to be fired.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of put it now with them going so deep in the tournament, and especially if they make it to Omaha? Do you think the fans will still kind of want him back, or do you think that'll be something where they'll be like, we still want him fired?
Yeah, you've always got a portion of any fan base with any sport that wants a coach out. And that's just kind of the way it always is. I think, honestly, it's a very layered question, and I can answer it best I can like this. After Southeast Missouri State, it's not that they wanted him out, it's that he was out, and he was gone. And then you fast forward, Ole Miss kind of gets hot. They sweep LSU, sweep Missouri. Then you start getting about 50-50. And then Ole Miss loses to Vanderbilt, and it drops back up or goes back up to about 80% that he's not going to return. And now I don't think there's any way you can get rid of him. I don't think it really matters what happens in Hattiesburg. What Mike has done this year, in my opinion, is one of the best coaching jobs he's done with this team, with how well they played down the stretch and how well they played over the weekend. And so this team has been hot after April. And I think that the Mike Bianco meter on whether he's back or not, I think he's back as long as he wants to come back.
Well, that sounds like he's coaching Team USA. I think that he's going to have that job. I don't think he's going anywhere. I do think that it was a hot seat, but I think it's cooled down quite a bit. Getting this team this far makes a big difference there for him. Anybody else got any more questions for Brad today?
Enjoy the atmosphere. I think we're all jealous you
Yeah.
get to be there.
Yeah.
Well,
yes, we are.
I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm down here, obviously, with Inside the Rebels and 247, and also CBS Sports and a couple of radio shows I'm going to be doing. But the main thing I'm here is basically documenting a lot of video, getting some audio as well. But I'll do my best to try to get as much as the atmosphere as I can via video, and I'll tweet a lot of that out. So I'm excited too. I'm just like you guys. I love the game. I love college baseball. And I'm so excited that the sports world that maybe not be as in tune as we are to college baseball, they're going to get to see some of this regional action. And I do think today is going to be absolutely off the charts.
I agree. I think that we all here are super excited for this weekend. I think that there's just should be so much great baseball. Brad, enjoy. Thanks for coming on. Let us know how it goes, and we'll check back in with you after this weekend here, okay?
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.